Gentlemen and women. So one of the sorry, I just woke up. One of the criticisms I've been getting is not been getting, but as my channel is quite new, I receive very few comments, views, likes, etc. But one criticism I have is why you sit so far back from the camera? Because your head is small and it's forcing us to like just look at everything that's not your face that's talking. So I'm trying to figure out a way that I can solve that problem without completely restructuring the whole, you know, area. But I actually really appreciated that criticism. I do think that when I when I sit this way, you can kind of see like the folds in my neck, and I dislike that. But I'm trying to create like a angle that works really well for the YouTube viewing audience, whilst preserving a sort of a widescreen visual format. I don't like the whole. You can't do the. Can you do that? What's it called? Like when it's the one is landscape and the other is like portrait mode or whatever. You don't want to do that. You shouldn't do that. I don't think people who film things in portrait mode. I've heard through the grapevine those people are spawns of Satan, Cthulhu. So anyway, let's get down to it. Speaking of, it looks like some kind of device from Saw or something. It's like, I'm gonna screw this into your brain and I'm gonna extract your fucking, pieces of your skeleton through your abdomen. Anyway, it's just a bottle opener. Nothing to be scared of. Nothing to be fearful of. This is the wine that we're gonna drink today, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about. Well, I have a topic. But it might go in a few different directions. I'm still trying to get through my Army of Darkness review. I was supposed to do a part 2 yesterday. Actually, I was supposed to do a part 2 2 days ago, and that didn't work out. And then I resolved to do it yesterday, but I just couldn't get it all together. So, and I still can't. It's just so difficult. It's so difficult to talk about something and analyze something, especially when it's not really fresh in your mind. Most people, when they open a bottle, they do it this way. I don't really care. I do want to, I'm just going to tear the whole thing off. This is called Root Cause. Root Cause. What an interesting label. Isn't that just beautiful? To me, that is lovely. It kind of reminds me of Body Worlds, at the Science Center down in, down off La Brea, where the California LACMA, there's like LACMA, there's La Brea Tar Pits, California Museum of Art, Science Center. Is the Science Center? Yeah, and then the Natural History Museum. All kinds of stuff over there. Anyway, I went to Body Worlds with my grandpa back in the day, and he's a surgeon. He was like a surgeon during like from the 1940s, late 40s up until the like mid 70s. He was a surgeon, so he's currently 93 and still kicking. So that'd be a lesson to you, man. Doctors, they say like, nothing can compete with modern medicine. I'm not so sure. Maybe they really knew what was up 50 years ago, because my old man, is he's killing this shit. I'm trying not to curse. I'm really this whole thing, this YouTube channel is basically, I don't really say this much. Oh, I've never said it before, but at the end of the day, the whole point of this channel is really just, it's for me. It's for me to say things and have discussions without being profane or vulgar. Because ask anybody who really knows me, I'm bad. So I'm trying to keep it family friendly so that I can monetize this video and make more money that way. Not that I'm gonna make any money anyway, but if it were possible to monetize a video and profit from it, it would be easier if the video were not profane. And I know I keep bringing that up, but I'm trying to reinforce that. Not for you, but for me. By the way, where do I look? Where do I look? There? Am I looking at the camera now? I don't know where the camera is. I just got this phone and I don't know where the camera is. I guess it's down there, but I like to do a rotate on the camera so I can just stare at my face while I'm talking, make sure I'm still in frame and nothing crazy is happening behind me. Like if Jason Voorhees is like lurking in the, behind this futon, I want to be the first one to spot it, so that I can act, because I'm constantly terrified of being stabbed to death by a mass murderer. It's a daily it's a daily issue with me. An issue. Isn't there a better word? A daily obstacle that I have to overcome. Yeah. I'm playing a game where it takes like common phrases and it tries to get it so that that you can pick words that are more advanced, and then it grades you based on the words you select and how appropriate they are as like synonyms. It's actually a really cool game. I'll give it a shout out if I can remember what it is. Which ironically, I can think of synonyms for what it is, but I can't think of the name of this app that I downloaded. I don't have many apps, by the way. I have like all the apps that come with my phone. I put them all in this one box folder thing, and then when you click on that, they all appear. But I like have no interest in any of the preloaded apps except for voice memos and maybe 3 others. And then when it comes to downloaded apps, they're just like games, like certain games that I really like to play. Blackjackist, gonna give them a shout out. I love Blackjackist. You can play craps, you can play poker, but really I just like to play blackjack. I like to count the cards, bet low, and just follow the card progression, and then just strike when the moment's right. Just go like, 1.5 mil, just throw it. Like, I'll be betting like 5K, 10K, 15K, 5K, 30K, 50K, 5K, 5K. And then like when I start to get a sense of what's really going on, then I'm just like double down, split, double, and I just like clean up like 10 mil. Just boom. And I've gone from like 30 to 40K, and currently I think I'm at, Jesus, man, like 27 million. So, man, but it's crazy, though, because when you go to Vegas, you just don't have the cojones for it. Like, when those cards are falling in front of you in Vegas, whereas behind a computer screen, you're just like, oh, I got this. And you do, man. You got to believe in yourself. But at the end of the day, I turned $30,000 into $27 million, on an online app that I play. I haven't been able to do that in real life. I wish I could. But honestly, faced with some of the dilemmas in blackjack that I have been confronted with, it would be very hard for me to actually, with my own money, make decisions like that, because I just simply don't have that kind of money to waste if the cards don't land the way that I need them to. So, there we go. One more. This is how you open a bottle of wine. Look at that. Just pull it right off. So this is what she said. Red wine. And look at this. It's so beautiful. I love how they do that. Like the label, it like, what do they call that? Do they call that like embossing or extruding or whatever? Like when it's a little bit like set above the surface, the gold is like a little bit above the surface. And then look here, root cause. And that's like, it's all like, almost feels like it's silk screened on or something. Like, it's just so cool. What a beautiful bottle. I'm a big sucker for a beautiful wine bottle. I picked this up at the dollar store for $3.99. Where I live, in the city where I live, there's a dollar store that actually does sell wine, not for $1, but for usually $3 to about $6, $7. The $6, $7 ones are a complete waste of money in almost every instance, and similarly, the $2.99 ones are really gross, undrinkable filth. That honestly, like if I tried to pour those wines down into my sink, the sink would spit it out. That's how bad they are. But every now and then, you get something really interesting like this one. I feel like there's like a curator of wines that's like making deals behind the scenes, and he's keeping me happy, because this was $4, and just based on the label and design and shape of the bottle, its credentials, it suggests to me this California Vintage 2017 red wine known as Root Cause could just be the cure for what ails me. But I just realized that I don't have my wine glass, and that is a big problem. I'm gonna have to pause the video and come back. But I can't pause the video, can I? Can I pause the video? I don't know how to pause the video. I don't think the video is going to pause. Y'all are just going to have to bear with me, because I'm super amateur with this stuff. So let me just go run, grab the wine glass, because I'm super underprepared. Go get the wine glass, talk a little bit more about the wine, and then get into what I really want to talk about, which is my rating system for how I assess and appraise things that are of interest in a pop culture sense. Music, movies, I guess, like paintings. I don't know, like I've never really done that before, but just anything, like anything I could grade, like a car. Like if I knew enough about the car and its specs and stuff, I could probably grade cars too. Like I could do a Doug score on something. But generally it's just going to be movies, music, maybe an occasional TV show, or stand-up comedy act, or perhaps a service or an app of some sort. I have a grading system, and it's a very interesting grading system. It's different than any other grading system that I've ever encountered. It's something that I devised myself, but it's not totally unique. It has origins in something that I've come to understand. And hang tight. I'm just going to sing a quick song while I go and get this wine glass that I completely forgot. So give me one moment. Yeah. How can he tell her he loves her? Okay, that's my elevator music. Intermission. Here's my wine glass, freshly rinsed. And now I have to dry it. Don't cry, dry your eyes. All right, dry enough. It doesn't matter if it's dry, just try to get as much water out of that thing as you can. This is my giant wine glass that I was using a smaller wine glass in one of my earlier videos, and somebody said that you should like get a bigger glass so that you can like aerate it and like open up the flavors. So I got this big glass at Hope of the Valley, a thrift store down the street. It's like a Rydell. It's like a super high-end wine glass. Like it's really, really sick. Like listen to that. Listen to this. How cool is that? It's like a super nice crystal glass. All right, that's dry enough. So yeah, I'm trying to get into the wine thing, but I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not a sommelier. I haven't read like any wine connoisseur magazines. I'm just trying to drink some good wine. This one, let me talk about it a little more. It says here, root cause is defined as, I need a root canal, by the way. Ugh, that's another story. Root cause is defined as the fundamental reason for the occurrence of an event. In our case, we take this quite literally. Thanks to the diverse soil, coastal influences, and California sunshine, our vines thrive and our roots run deep. This results in well-structured yet expressive wines. Good roots, good wines, good times. RootCauseWines.com, alcohol 13.5% by volume. Contains sulfites, yeah, they always do. Vinted and bottled by Root Cause Wines. Parlier, California. Or Parley, is that Parlier? This wine was made in a sustainable winery. Please recycle. I just think this label is just so cool. I'm gushing about the label, but hey, I hope I can gush about the wine. Let's screw in here and pull this cork out. This is a neat-looking cork. It's a real cork. It's not one of those cheapo rubber corks that I've seen a lot of. Which, by the way, they say, like, those rubber corks are apparently, like, better for the wine. Like, they're, like, because they can't, like, biologically, like, you can't have, like, funguses and stuff growing in them or something. I don't know. Who knows? I love a good old cork, you know. That's how I roll. So we got our cork out. Cork is decorated with wine leaf, floral, wine bunch pattern. I'm starting to get kind of hyped up for this. I feel like this is certainly a much nicer wine than you could generally expect to receive for $4. I've had some $4 wines at Trader Joe's, and okay, so where's the camera? So I guess it's right there. So see it. And if I touch the screen, will it focus on it? I'm such a noob. So cool cork. I actually shouldn't toss that cork over there because I'm not gonna pour the whole bottle out. I like to keep bugs out of my wine bottle, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? I always put the cork back in the bottle. That's how I roll, because I don't want oxygen getting in there in case I want to drink it maybe tomorrow. So, yeah. And they're going to say, like, you shouldn't pour it that way. What is it, champagne? They're going to say you should pour it like that or whatever so it aerates a little better. But what do I know? What do I know? I'll tell you, let's make this a little easier. What don't I know? Wait. No, I'm supposed to be self-deprecating. What don't I know is a poor way of examining my persona. Instead, what do I know? What do I know? Nothing. I don't know much about anything. I know very little about wine, for example. I do know a lot about movies. I know a lot about movies in certain formats. I can figure things out. Like I was playing Quiz Up. Ice water. Always hits the spot. I gotta cleanse the palate before I start sipping this wine. I was playing this game Quiz Up, and there's a movie trivia thing where like you can play against other people, and it asks a movie related question and gives you 4 possible answers. And the cool thing about it is not answering the question because, but to prevent cheating, you have to answer extremely quickly to get the full, I think it's 10 points. So if it takes you more than like a second and a half, first it shows you the question and gives you like 3 seconds to read the question, and then it shows you the 4 answers. And if you're going to answer the question in like a second and a half, you get the full 10 points. But every second after that you wait, you lose a point. So I like that because there's some games where it kind of feels like, well, it gives you unlimited time to answer and it's not timing you. Then what's the point? Because stupid people will just be like, well, I don't know this one. And then they'll like go online and figure it out. And then they'll put the answer so they can like feel smart after they beat you. But really, it's just sad that somebody would do that. But also, Quiz Up is cool because it prevents that from happening. It's like, with Quiz Up, it's like if you really want to win this game, you either know it or you don't. Just accept it. There is one thing I don't like about it, which is apparently if you give them money or whatever, you can like buy these things called like emeralds. And then you can just press the emerald button and it'll just pick the right answer if you don't know it. That upsets me. And I was really getting involved with this one person playing the game, and we were just neck and neck. And the last one I didn't know. So I was just like, what do I put? What do I put? What do I put? And they weren't putting anything either. But they were ahead of me by a little bit because they were answering faster in general. So I guessed, and I guessed right. And right when I guessed the right answer, they immediately guessed the right answer, which signals to me that they were waiting to see if I would guess it wrong so they didn't have to use those emeralds. I got hustled. I got hustled on Quiz Up. Those emeralds, man. But it's like the emeralds are like something for like stupid people to buy, like, because stupid people for some reason have like a lot of money. You can buy the emeralds with a credit card, and then you can use them so that you basically win every game. But most people aren't like completely stupid to where they're gonna actually like somehow feel like fulfillment from doing something like that, and they play fair. I will say that they do give you some emeralds from time to time. They'll just give you those emeralds, and you can earn them, I guess. And then every now and then I'm tempted to just press that emerald button because I'm like, man, it's so close. I could clinch this if I just press that button right at the last question. So I don't know. I'm guilty of it too, is what I'm saying. Also, oh no, this is the Matcha Rise. I was going to talk about Tea Riot. This really good, but I think I already talked about it in my Army of Darkness video. I talked about Tea Riot already, so I'm not going to go into it again unless I have a new flavor, which I do. But I'm not thirsty for it right now, and I'd have to get up again. But I'm gonna, in one of my next videos, I got another flavor. It's like called like hibiscus glory or something, hibiscus rise, something like that. And it's got like apples and lemon and cayenne and some other like L-theanine, all kinds of cool stuff in it that's really healthy, cold pressed. And I'm gonna try it later, and I might make a video about maybe reviewing it because it's super tasty. I'm really bummed out because it seems like this company's kind of having a hard time right now because a big part of their market is sort of like street vendors and stuff down at like the Venice Beach area or in LA, and right now there's like just fewer people going out, so they have this they've set up all their they've not stockpiled, but they've like set up like arrangements with local farmers to get this fruit that they can cold press into this tea. And I think they're really struggling right now. I've heard it through the grapevine. Not much longer will my tea be available to me. It's so sad, 'cause all I wanna drink this until I'm dead. Even though it's $6 a bottle. Jeez Louise, I don't think I make enough for that. Did any of that rhyme? Was any of it even rhythmic? Were any of those notes even actual notes? These are the questions I need to be asking myself when I just burst into song without explanation, cause, or a reality check. Give me that reality check in the form of a like and hit that subscribe button. Yeah, actually, you know what? Please don't. I really hate people who pander to like I am a zombie. He told me to hit the like button. Now I must hit the like button. Don't do that, man. I'm not saying like don't hit the like button. I'm saying like don't do it just because they told you to. Don't do stuff just because people tell you to do stuff. All right, the wine's been, is what I'm saying. I'm telling you that. I'm telling you. I think I probably poured a little bit too much. So I was letting it breathe for a little while. Now let me do this. Kind of just open up the notes a little. This is what they tell you to do. But I definitely filled it a little too much. I mean, look at that. That's insane. What's that like? That's like 3 ounces of wine or something. This giant in this goblet of a wine glass. All right, so, ooh man, wow. I feel like I'm just outdoors on top of a hill and the wind is blowing. It's man, for $4, you can't go wrong. I feel like this is really going to be great. I'm probably doing it a disservice by filling this glass this full, so I'm going to just try to aerate it as much as I can. I'm currently doing this with my right hand, which my right hand has a major mental dysfunction. I'm a left-handed individual, and so my left hand is always just very much in control. Look at that. Left hand's like, I got this, I got this, I got this. Right hand's like Parkinson's hand. It's like, look, it's all wobbly, like, I don't know what to do. My right hand is stupid. Ever see that movie Idle Hands? Doesn't that have the guy who does the voice of Chris Griffin on Family Guy, and then he does Robot Chicken? Isn't that him? Or is it Breckin Meyer? I get them confused. Weren't they both in Rat Race together? Rat Race, man, what a movie. Rat Race is kind of like Mars Attacks. It's one of those movies that has an incredible cast, but it doesn't really, it's like not that good of a movie. It just has a great cast. Like, I think they recently did something like that with another movie called like The Holiday or something, or Valentine's Day. No, that's Valentine. That's a horror movie. There was like a Valentine's Day movie though. It was called Valentine's Day. It had like a bunch of actors. There was another movie called like New Year's Eve, I think it was called. Oh man, it's like let's just get every actor to be in the movie for like 40 seconds, and everybody will come to see it because on the whatever the one sheet or whatever it's called, the movie theater poster, we can just like fill it with like 40 names, and everybody will go see it because they'll just be like, hey, there's that person that I recognize, and meanwhile the movie's just awful, just horrible movie because there's really nobody you can relate to. It's just like a running. Adam Sandler movies are like that, aren't they? It's just like, oh, well, who's going to cameo next? The difference is with Adam Sandler, though, you might get anyone, like a sports star, celebrity, or somebody, news celebrity, or just like, it could be anyone, not necessarily actors, but, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that just really, like, it's not for me. It's like, with Mars Attacks, I think it works pretty well. I think that star power kind of saves that movie, but with Rat Race, it doesn't quite work. It's just not enough to keep the momentum going necessarily. In my opinion, Rat Race is like, I give it like a 4.5 out of 10. Mars Attacks, on the other hand, A for effort, but I give it like a 6.5 to maybe a 7 out of 10. And by the way, the point of this this video is to assess and examine the way that I review things, but not wines. Wines, I just drink and I just kind of talk about it for a couple minutes, which I'm going to do right now. So let's check it out. Okay, so it's calmed down a little. It was like, the first time I took a whiff, I was like, whoa! So I had to kind of let it calm down a bit, which it has. I think it's mellowed out. It's chilling, so let's do this. Wow, that is just lovely. What a gorgeous wine. Tastes like a $15 bottle of wine. I've had $15 bottles of wine that taste like that aren't a third the wine that this one is. This is beautiful. Oh wow. Wow. Why I know. I'm a wino. Why I know. I know that I'm a wino that loves wine like this. This is a great wine. I don't like sweet wines, and this isn't sweet. I don't like wines that have an alcoholic kind of reek to it, and this doesn't have that. I don't like wines that feel like they're coating the mouth with something. No thanks. Like buttery wines, not crazy about. I know the mouthfeel is important. Well, this one's, it's crisp, but it rinses right off your palate easily, which suggests to me that it would be a great pairing with a lot of different types of foods, perhaps some cheeses and crackers, strong cheeses, or dark, meats, red meats, because you can sort of, it will definitely complement the food, but then it'll get out of your way if you want to eat something else or take another bite of something different. It's the wine's not gonna interfere with any of that. It's just gonna be there to sort of rinse it all away and help build up some of those flavors. So if that makes any sense at all, which as somebody who drinks wine from time to time, that makes sense to me in my own way. I understand it, but that's what I'm saying. This is a wine that doesn't stick around long, but while it's there, it makes its presence known without overstating its welcome, and it just kind of pats you on the back and lets you know everything's going to be okay. It's a cool wine. For $4, are you kidding me? I should buy 20 of them and give them to everybody I know as a gift. Unfortunately, if I bought 20 of them, 14 of them would be going to people I know but don't like, and only 6 of them would be going to people I know. Think about that. I don't know many people. I'm very lonely. I'm very lonely. Very lonely. Keep me company. Hit that like. Oh, wait. I'm pandering again. No. You know what? Don't hit that like button. I don't want you to like me. I want you to love me. Or I want you to, I want to be so vulgar and profane. But I can't do it, man. I got to relax. I got to calm down. And what tool is good for helping you with that? Prozac? No. A little bit of red wine. It's good for the heart. Maybe it's not good for the heart. Science doesn't really have a consensus on that yet. There are different camps. But I will say this. Alcohol, and at the end of the day, that's all this really is. Once it brushes past your palate, it's just alcohol to your body. Alcohol thins the blood a bit. And I think that thinning the blood could actually have some advantages. Because the thick blood creates it blocks the arteries and stuff. You got to thin out the blood. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Please don't follow my advice. It's just in my mind, it's a rational. What my father says, it's a rationalizing argument for doing the things that you want to do. Well, if I want to drink wine, then I'll drink wine and I'll say that I'm thinning out my blood so that I don't die of a stroke. I'll die from something else. My liver will give out, or my kidneys will collapse into powder. But I definitely won't get a stroke because my blood is so thin that it never clots. Till I fall and hit my head and I start bleeding out from some massive wound in the back or on my temple area. The head bleeds more than any other part of the body. When I was in 4th grade, I learned that lesson because everybody had to put their chair up on the table at the end of the class session so that the janitor could come in and vacuum the floors. And this little kid like Michael Mann, no, that's the guy that directed Manhunter. Isn't that weird? The guy who directed Manhunter's name is Mann? I always thought that was strange. His name is Michael Chiquiglio or something. I don't know. I don't know his name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Don't you hate when people are trying to think of somebody's name and it really doesn't matter? Anyway, he was putting the chair up and I guess the chair was too heavy for him or something. He was super weak. And he fell backwards and he had anemia or something. And the chair fell in a certain way that sliced his head because the chairs are made out of plastic and they have sharp edges on the bottom. And he fell and the chair landed on his head. But the weight of the chair didn't really, that's not what did it. It's just that the chair had this sharp edge of the plastic and it sliced him right there. And he had to get rushed out and go to see the nurse. But his head, blood was just pouring down his head. It was a freak accident. I was in 4th grade and it was crazy. And my teacher, Miss Clark, was like, just so you know, students, the head bleeds more than any other part of the body. And ever since that day, I've always just been freaked out when I think about getting injured. I'm just anywhere but the head, anywhere but the head. Probably not helped by the fact that I used to get mad nosebleeds. I don't know why. I guess they said that I always picked my nose, but I think I was just a really harsh nose blower. I would blow my nose like freaking Shamu. Just it would fly out, and I don't know. I don't know. It did damage because it would just come from high up. The blood would just come down my nose. And I don't know. I haven't had a nosebleed in years. But I've been more sensible about my nose blowing technique. So that could be the reason why. It's been almost half an hour and I haven't talked about the thing that I'm here to talk about. So in the next, it's pretty much impossible to get this video in under a half an hour now, and it's not worth it to create a second video, so I'm just going to go for it. Maybe we'll go into overtime. Well, we definitely will go into overtime. Hold on, let me pause a little longer to sip some more wine. And furthermore, let me talk about how I'm going to pause to sip some more wine, and then maybe even talk about that pause Did they do that in Family Guy? Oh, is that just every episode? Lois, I have never lied ever to you, except that, and 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 that. How's that go? I think my favorite Family Guy joke of all time, I think it's in the Stewie Griffin movie. I don't even know the context for it because I only saw it once, but I've always remembered this joke. The guy goes, he goes, "Hey babe, you know what that cloud up there looks like? Rain." I'm so funny. Everyone in the office thinks so. They say I should be a comedian. It's just like this whole conversation this guy's having with himself, with his wife in the car. It's just so hilarious to me. I don't know. I'm neurotic for sure. Definitely. Definitely neurotic. Definitely neurotic. Yeah. Pull Samson head. That's an inside joke. So how do I review things? Let's talk about it. But I don't even want to talk about it. Well, I'm gonna, and you're gonna listen if you've listened this far, because you are wondering how I review things. Well, the way I review things is on a 1 to 10 scale. No, I'm not a hipster that thinks 1 is the highest and 10 is the lowest. 10 is the highest. The 1 to 10 scale is divided each number into 10 parts, so there are 100 total points that you can earn. Every time that a film does something really interesting to me, it has the possibility of gaining a point. So I might be sitting there with a pen and paper, and this is never the first time I watch a movie, because I tend to basically review movies or albums, but movies more than anything. If I've seen a movie, if I have to review the movie only after seeing it only once, I will. Same with an album, but I really don't like to do that, especially with music, because there's a lot of theories that say that your familiarity with music helps you appreciate it more. With a movie, I think that it's important to kind of get a gut reaction and then see it one more time, so that you can kind of, knowing what's going to happen, you can kind of not necessarily be distracted by all these little tricks, narrative tricks that they pull. So I think the first time you should watch a movie just to enjoy it, and if you're pressed and put on the spot, I'll throw a number out, but if I really have to be precise, then I'm going to want to see it at least one more time to form that consensus. With an album, I definitely want to hear it at least 3 to 5 times before I make a consensus. I won't throw out a gut reaction for an album. I have to hear it at least 5 times. 3 to 5 times. If I'm really pressed, 3, but 5 times, and not all in a, like, over and over and over and over. And same with a movie, I'm not going to watch it two viewings back to back. I'm going to want to watch it, let a few weeks go by, watch it again, and then come out with my rating. The second time I'm watching it, I'm not taking any notes. All I'm doing is scratching little strokes and then sort of counting them up at the end. But it's more complicated than that, because the number of strokes could be 250 strokes, or it could be 30 strokes. It doesn't really matter. It's just a way for me to mentally kind of check the progress of the film. A movie could be like a 7 out of 10, and there might only be like 25 strokes. And meanwhile, another movie might be like, 5.7 or 5.8 out of 10, yet there's only, let's say, 20 strokes. It's possible. It's just a way for me to kind of gauge. It's a way for me to like a chronometer. Like, it's a way for me to sort of divide up the time. And it's just it's a psychological thing that I go through. There's really no math to it. There's not an exact science. The strokes mean something to me and only me. Strokes really aren't important. What's important is the final number, which is graded in a sort of a plate tectonic. You know earthquakes, like the Richter scale. Like a magnitude 7 is 10 times stronger than a magnitude 6, which itself is 10 times stronger than magnitude 5. So each, like a 7.1 is, the way it's like an exponential thing. So a movie that I give an 8 to is not just, 10% better than a movie I give a 7 to. It's actually 100% better. It's twice as good than a movie that gets a 7. And a movie that gets a 9 is twice as good as a movie that gets an 8. And that's the way I like to review things. And that is something that I don't see anyone doing. If anybody does, then great. I'm not going to say that you copied it from me. I'm copying myself from the Richter scale. But in this way, I have found that, and I have a list of several hundred films. Each of them has a grade, sort of like, what's that music review thing where they review albums on a scale of 1 to 10, but like almost no album ever gets a 10 unless it's a Radiohead album. like that, like those guys. I don't know how they grade albums, but I always had a sneaking suspicion it might be the same way, because it's really hard to get a 10. It's super rare. With me, a 10 is basically an impossible score. And people ask me, well, what movie have you ever given a 10 to? There are a few, and I will get into that. But I will, before I do any of that, which won't be today, I want to talk about the fact that a 10 is really not possible. The most a movie can conceivably earn with me is going to be an 8. Because an 8 is 10 times better than a 7, which is 10 times better than a 6, which is 10 times better than a 5, and so on. It's really hard for that reason to get a 1, 2, or 3, because the bar is so low at that level that almost anything, like if a movie makes me laugh out loud twice, it's already got a 3. No questions asked. Or, if a movie has a stupid jump scare that actually made me go, whoa, it probably already has a 3. Where it starts to get a little more challenging is 4 territory. 4 is let's take some horror movies, for example, like, I don't know, The Pit. That'd be a good example. I saw Red Letter Media did The Pit came up on their best of the worst, and I've always had a soft spot for The Pit. The Pit is a cool movie. It's a 4, and I think it's a cool movie. So that's a great example of how, if you've earned a 4, then I'm not hating on your movie. I think a 4 out of 10 is a perfectly decent score for a film. It means that you affected me. It means that there were moments where I was emotionally invested. There were aspects of it that I can say was technically impressive. A 4 is not a bad film for me. Similarly, a 10 is basically unattainable. So if you think about it that way, a 4 is sort of like a 6, which a 6 is above average. So for me, a 4 is around average. And then a 5 being twice as good of a movie as a 4 is going to have just twice as much stuff in it. Theoretically, it might have twice as many little checkmark things on my paper. Or it might not, because that's just a psychological thing that I do to keep track of sort of where I'm at in the film. But getting a 5 is being twice the movie that a 4 is. Not just a bit better, but everything that's great about that movie better gets a 5. And so at this point now, a 5 is sort of a 5 is sort of kind of a little bit of an impressive feat there when you think about it. I mean, it's certainly by most standards of assessment, it would be considered well above average, perhaps. And there are a lot of movies that I consider to be 5s that I really love, and I call them usually guilty pleasures. Because even though they're only halfway up the scale, there's enough to keep me entertained where I wouldn't mind watching it every few years, let's say. And a 6 is now, with a 6 now, we're starting to get into some of honestly, some movies that I really genuinely enjoy. Movies I really get a kick out of. And again, I wish I could give some examples, but instead what I'll do is perhaps at a certain point, if you request to know one of my scores, then I'll send you my rating if I've seen the film twice. I will not send a rating if I've only seen it once, unless I'm really put on the spot, and I don't see why I would be, because I don't really care about anything. I'm a nihilist. Not really, but kind of. Anyway, a little bit. The rating scale can also be divided. Each number can divide 10 times. So at a certain point, usually with 1, 2, 3, and 4, I'll just give it 1, 2, 3, or 4. And I'm not going to be all, hipster out and be like, I give it a 2.3 out of 10. Nah. Usually. I'll divide those numbers usually midway. So 2.5, 3, 3.5, etc. However, when we get into the higher numbers, pretty much starting around 7, that's when I might start doing I might do 7.2, 4, 6, 8 to 8. And then after 8, it's 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, and so on, because the difference between an 8 and a 9 is so great and difficult to attain that it really just doesn't make any rational sense to say, well, this movie's an 8, but this movie's a 9. I don't do the Fantano thing, feeling the strong 7 to a light 8. No. I'm giving you a definitive, decisive decimal point number. After 8, you're getting an 8.1, 8.5, 8.3, 8.4, whatever. You're getting an 8 point something, and then same for 9 all the way up till 10. There is no number higher than 10. I know there are a lot of people that like to be like, yo, man, Batman Begins is like a 9, man, but The Dark Knight is 11 out of 10. Well, this one doesn't go to 11 because that's not possible. It's not possible to give 110% to perform any function. It cannot be done. It's like dividing by zero to me. It's silliness. It's ludicrous. It's insanity. It's mental illness, if you ask me. Nothing can be higher than 10. And for me, pretty much nothing can be higher than 8. Getting higher than 8 is an astonishing feat. And the few films that have managed to do it are films that I will defend on every level. But you might say, well, I mean, yeah, I guess you're giving it a 9. It's a pretty good movie, but I don't really understand how you can give it a 9 because it has this wrong with it. Well, here's the thing. Once you move past 8, it becomes a little more interesting. It's like this space warp thing where like the energy fields of the universe like collapse in on themselves and like blow out in all directions. Generally a movie that gets a higher score than 8 with me is going to be a movie where the faults, the flaws, the things that are worthy of criticism, technical problems with the film, actually serve to enhance the experience overall. In other words, it makes it more endearing. Because a movie like, let's forget about 10. Let's say a movie that hits 9 is not necessarily a perfect film. It's a movie that has perhaps many different flaws and many different problems, structurally, narratively, acting, scenes, goofs and technical goofs, editing mishaps, production woes. Perhaps some of the behind the scenes knowledge might alter the score a bit as well. I'm open to that. Generally, although I try to avoid assessing a movie based on just backstory behind the scenes stuff, but I will sometimes consider that moving the points up and down on a fraction level. I might consider like the behind the scenes stuff and be like, yeah, I think I'm going to give it an 8.5 instead of an 8.4, let's say. But I think it's important to consider that a movie is about a feeling. It's about eliciting an emotional response, and not about being technically perfect, because that's not achievable in any aspect of your life. So a movie that achieves over an 8, which is extremely rare. I'm talking like 1 out of every 1,000 films might get above an 8 for me that I've seen. Jeez, I mean, I hate to be harsh, but it may just be that bad. Most of my movies are going to fall into the 4, 5, 6 range, with 7s being uncommon, 8s being extremely rare, 9s almost impossible, and 10s, I mean, I could probably count on one hand the number of 10s. But anyway, it's a movie where the flaws only make it even better. And if you're curious about what that might mean, I'll explore it more in another video, because I'm already up to 43 minutes, and I said I wouldn't go over half an hour. So it's been fun hanging out with you. Just put me on in the background while you're working on your homework or doing something else. Hopefully not while you're having sex with your girl or boyfriend, because that would be weird. But that's the whole point, we're just kind of chilling, chit-chatting, shooting the crap, and just having a good time, sipping a little wine and taking it easy, and there's really no expectations I place on myself when I record these videos. I'm just talking, just trying to, while away the day and do something productive and constructive and not too reductive and, SD Roseanne ain't nothing to with. So come at me, come at me. Come back again and hang out with me some more, because I'm having a lot of fun, and I hope you are too. Sorry that my video doesn't have a bunch of quick cuts and fast editing and special effects and words that fly across the screen, and then all of a sudden I'm upside down and sideways and like inverted colors. All of a sudden, pow, 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 pow. I'm just trying to, just kick it, man, hey, that's my neighbor. He's always like, hey, man, he's like a cartoon character. I'm like, nobody actually talks like that. This guy does. This guy talks like that. Maybe another video I'll do some impersonations of some of the people that I know, because just as I would hope that they would do impressions of me, because there's nothing more flattering than seeing a realistic impression of yourself performed by somebody that you know. Or even somebody that you don't personally know. If any of you want to try to do an impression of me, I would love to hear it. Otherwise, come back, see me next time, and let's get stuckmanized.